Hey, hello everybody. I thought this would be a good time to do a corned beef. So here we go. I've rinsed it off already, and I got the water hot. Okay, so I'm going to put it in. This is just a flat corned beef. Okay, this is the flat side. Let me take a little bit of water out of there. Okay, I just want to show you the convenience of having a slicer. Basically, that's what I'm doing here. You know, for St. Paddy's Day, you know, some people like you know, corned beef and cabbage. Now, I know some places, some restaurants, they boil the cabbage right in the water that they boil the corned beef in. Now, personally, I don't like to do that. The reason is the cabbage comes out tasting like the corned beef. So, you know, I mean, you don't need that. I want to taste cabbage, not corned beef. I have, you know, if you're serving corned beef and cabbage, you have the corned beef, right? That's, you know, that's one flavor. And then you have the cabbage. I think it's important to have the two flavors instead of just one. Anyway, I never did like when they cooked the cabbage in with the corned beef. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit of extra spice. Okay? Alright, let me see. What do we have? I've got cloves, whole cloves. I'm going to put in 3. Yeah, there's 3 in there. Okay? I'm going to add a little bit of coriander, ground. Alright, I'm going to throw in some minced onion. Going to do some caraway seeds. You know, this is basically pickling spice. You know, that's basically what we're making here. Pickling spice. Alright, here's some mustard seed. Here I've got some ground allspice. Some garlic, granulated garlic. And some dill weed. Now, if I had dill seed, I would use that, but I don't. What I have is dill weed. Okay, there we go. All right, now the time is 1:45. 15 minutes to 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 1 hour. Okay, so now I've got the crock pot on high. 1:45. I'm going to give it 1 hour. And then we're going to check it and see how long we need. Okay, 1 hour has gone by, and as you can see, it's not boiling. Watch out. All right, so I'm going to give it another hour. So usually I don't even time it, to be honest with you. I don't keep track of the time, but I will today because I want to know for myself too, you know, exactly how long does it take. All right, I'm going to set it for another hour and I'll be back. Okay, see ya. There we go. Gonna have some lunch. I tell you what, you should have one of these apple peelers. They really are nice, I'll tell you. This thing was cheap. This thing was very cheap. I don't remember exactly how much, but it was cheap. Get one. Okay, I'll see you. This was invented like in, I don't know, 1600 or something, and they still work. All right, gotta go. See you. Be back. Okay, that's 2.5 hours. Let's see what we have here. Now, the way you tell it's done is stab it. You stab it with a fork, or no, it's not done. Did you see that? You wanted to hang on. Yeah, it's close. It's close. But not 100%. So I'm going to give it 20 more minutes. Woo! I'm going to give it 20 more minutes. That's one thing that I don't like is corned beef. It always makes a mess. All right, 20 minutes. I'll see you. All right, here we go. Oh man, look at that. Perfect. All right. I'm going to take a chunk of this and eat it tonight. And I'm going to put the rest in the fridge and I'll slice it tomorrow. And I got to show you. Oh man, look at this. Woo. Okay, like I said, tomorrow I'll cool it and tomorrow we'll slice it. Okay, see ya. I'm out of here. I gotta go. I gotta eat. Okay, hey, here we go, everybody. This is the next day, and I've had the corned beef in the refrigerator all day, all night. It's nice and set up. It's firm and it's ready to slice. Now, since this is the flat part of the brisket, I'm not going to trim the fat off the top because the reason is there's no fat in the center. If this was the other part of the brisket, there would be fat here. Okay, but there isn't. This is all meat. So I'm going to leave the fat on the top. Of course, you could take it off. You can do whatever you want. In my opinion, you do need a little bit of fat. Okay, listen. Well, there were two reasons I made this video. One is to show you when the corned beef is done. It was 2 hours and 50 minutes for that size corned beef. 2 hours and 50 minutes. And that's on a slow boil in the crock pot. Now, if you did it on the stove, you'd have, you could do a harder boil. You could probably get away with 2 hours and a half. All right, anyway, that was one reason I wanted to show you the video. Also, the slicer. Look, I'm not a sponsor of this company, but this slicer is dynamite. I mean, this thing is perfect for the price. You can't beat it. I mean, yeah, it's cheap. It's plastic. The blade is serrated. On a industrial slicer or one that you would have in a professional kitchen, the blade is not serrated. But this one is. Why? I'm not sure. I guess because it moves at a slower speed, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it's really nice to have this thing. I tell you, I love it. I don't use it all that often, but when I do, it is so handy. I mean, this thing it's perfect. It really is. I have no complaints. For the amount of money that I spent, I can't remember exactly. I mean, I bought it years ago. I think it was like $30. It was cheap. Okay, now look. If you notice, I'm not using the guard to hold the meat. See, that's another shortcoming of the slicer, is that because it's cheap and because the blade is not moving at a very high speed, you have to control the meat itself. Like, in other words, if I put the guard on right now, I would never be able to slice it like I am. The guard would not do very well. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing it towards the blade. With the guard on, you can't do that. You can't push it towards the blade. So my point is that if you're going to do it like this without the guard, please be careful. Okay, you don't want to slice your hand. Okay, so that's all the slicing. Now I'm just gonna rinse it off first before I wash it. Okay, there you go. You got to be careful with the blade. If you drop the blade, forget it. You might as well buy a new slicer, because it's you're never, it's not going to work. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to rinse it now, just to get the, just to wet it, so the stuff doesn't stick when I go to wash it. Okay. Wait a minute. There's two things I want to tell you. One is, on the corned beef, when you're in a restaurant, you buy a whole brisket corned beef, and you get both pieces. You get what they call the flat, which is what I have here, the flat, and the other piece is called the point, and they're connected. It's one big piece. Now, the point has a lot of fat. It has a lot of marbling. The flat has mostly meat, excuse me, and not a lot of fat. So that's what you want for the house, is the flat. The point is a lot thicker. The flat, the meat is more consistent in thickness. Okay, anyway, here's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna put the sliced corned beef in freezer bags, and then I'm gonna put the freezer bags into a shrink wrap bag, and then I'm gonna freeze them all. And then when I want corned beef, I just take one out. Take one or two or whatever, and they're good to go. I mean, this is perfect. I'm telling you, this is really, it's unbelievable. This is really a good deal. Okay. Okay, at the end of this video, I have that little apple machine again. You might eat more apples if you had one of those. You can get one off of Amazon for like $14. I don't recommend you buy an expensive one. They do have some that are worth a lot more, or that cost a lot more. I'm not saying they're worth more, they just cost more.
And I would stick with the cheap one. It's they all do the same thing. Um, anyway, here you go. I'm shrinking these up, and I mean this stuff will last forever in the freezer. Um, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just shrinking that. You can make corned beef sandwiches. You can make Reubens. You can make corned beef and cabbage. Like I said earlier, uh, to cook the corned beef and the cabbage separate. Don't cook them both in the same pot. Some people do that, and I don't agree with that at all. That the cabbage tastes exactly like the corned beef, which that's really not what I want. I want to taste the cabbage and the corned beef. All right, here it is. This little handy thing, man. This thing is great. I'll tell you. And like I said, they're fairly cheap. Uh, oh yeah, it also has that thing on the end there, that ring. It will core the apple as you're peeling it. Plus, um, it'll slice it, like an accordion type slice. Okay, wait. It's near the end. It's getting late. I gotta go. I gotta eat.